All right, guys, I'm Tim here from Counter Response. I'm trying to tie the whole principle between functional fitness and self-defense, bringing it together, creating a new thing called protection fitness. So here's what we're looking at doing. Wanting to use moves that you're already used to doing in the gym and then actually putting them in practical application for self-defense purposes. And we're just going to show you a couple ways of how that work. One way we're just going to lead you into, even the stance on the bar, just the stance that you'll have if you're doing your Olympic lift or deadlifts, keeping that principle behind actually ties into how we do our fighting stance around here. And if you think about it, when you're doing on the bar, the principle behind where you're going to line the bar up, your body's most balanced on right there, center line. We call it over the laces, putting the bar over the laces. And that is the same kind of principle when you're doing your fighting. The stance behind it, the balance that you're going to have that you want is going down the straight line center the same way that it is when you're lining up for your bars on the Olympic lifts or the deadlifts. So keeping that in mind, again, with the hips back, when you're doing any kind of explosive movement, self-defense, any kind of principle behind what it is for the actual engagement, the strikes behind the self-defense, that hip explosion is huge. Same kind of principle you're using when you're doing any kind of Olympic lift. Again, you're not putting the bars up with your upper body, it's all getting pushed up with your hips. It's that uppercut behind the hips, that's what's bringing the power behind the Olympic lift on the bar. So again, we tie that all in, how we're doing our self-defense, what we want, again, when you're hitting your contact point again, and that all starts with the stance. If your body's out of balance, or if you don't have a firm foundation, or if you can't move right or stay in balance when you're moving, your strikes are going to be affected big time. So just having that simple stance, lining up in that stance is big. So again, when we're talking about something you're familiar with, the Olympic lift stance or your deadlift stance, again, you want your hips a little slightly back. You want that balance on that whole center line. Again, want it all the way down the legs, shooting down your balance line where you're going to set that bar up. Now again, thinking with that position with your shoulders rolled forward. Now all I want to do, whichever foot you want, take one step back, keep your hips about shoulder width apart, and that's your fighting stance. Same principle behind it. My hips are still lined in the back. That way when I explode, I have the explosion of the hips that's going to be giving me the power behind my strikes. So guys, that's just one of the ways, again, that we're talking about tying this stuff together. When you're thinking about it, again, if you want to think about a good fighting stance, one thing, leave your elbows in front of your body. That way they'll never drift aside and your hands will never drop, okay? Thank you again. This is Tim here from Counter Response. Stay tuned. We're going to have some other good correlations and tying it in between the functional fitness and self-defense and how you can do it.